Welcome to the Inspection Empire Builder podcast. On today's episode, we are talking with Justin from Atlanta about growing his inspection company. This is going to be a great episode. And welcome to the show, Justin. Thanks, man, for tuning in today. It's been good having you on here. So I know you're from Atlanta, man. Have you lived there your whole life?
Yeah, lived in Atlanta whole life, mainly focused around the West Metro. I went to college in North Georgia and then finished off in kind of the metro area at Kennesaw State.
Nice.
So yeah, this has been home for me.
I love that, man. How long you been doing inspections?
Since 2012. 2012, got into it, really started to take off the inspection company, and been blowing and going ever since. We had phenomenal success right there at the beginning, and we're able to maintain it, until we decided to grow and get a little bigger.
Yeah. So what was that tipping point for you? Because every person starts off like just by themselves, right? Like I did too, and answering the phones and doing the inspections, doing everything myself. And then as the company grew, there was a tipping point for me where I was like, okay, do I want to grow with employees, or do I just want to stay like a one-man shop? Because being a one-man shop is kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. There's no
True story.
Right? There's no employees. It's like if I want to go on vacation, I just like don't book inspections and go on vacation, and so like there's some freedom there, and like I don't have to answer anybody. I don't have to, and so there's a lot of freedom there. And I remember that day, kind of like that season of like wrestling on which way am I going to go with this. What was that look like for you in that decision process?
Yeah, so starting out 2012, I'd come out of commercial construction post 2008 crash, and commercial just dried up. Man, like I got laid off, couldn't find a job anywhere. And my dad floated me this idea. He was like, hey, when I retire, I was looking at, maybe getting into home inspections, so maybe that's something you could do to kind of bridge the gap. Kind of shrugged my shoulders and did some research into it. I was like, yeah, I've got the background to do this. Let's jump into it. And then did the solo man thing for like 10 years. It was, it just started really taking off and really having good success with it, and kind of maxing out, from the first year, I'm doing between 400 and 500 inspections as a solo guy, full schedule.
That's very full. Yeah.
And it's wearing. So at right about the 10-year mark, I was sitting with my wife one day and just, we were chatting about everything. And I was like, we're at the point where it's time to either grow or start telling people no.
Yep.
We were just maxed out, doing about 550 inspections a year. That foregoes vacations and that foregoes weekends, and, really starts to wear on the single guy. So I had to make a decision, quality of life.
Yeah. Work-life balance, man. Yeah. Work-life balance is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we put out a couple of feelers and found this really good guy as our first inspector, and was able to hit the ground running with him. He just kind of shadowed me for about 6 months. This was before I had any rigid, systems in place, before I had any, training organization. I was like, hey man, meet me at this house at this time.
Get in the truck, shut up, and hang on. We're going.
I'm going to home inspector you.
Dude, the first hire is always that way. You're like, I don't really know. I've never trained anybody how to do this before, man. Like, I'm super busy, right? I was the same way. I was sleeping and working 7 days a week, and I was just like, bro, just get in the truck, shut up, and hang on. We'll figure this out, and yeah, then you just like got to roll with it somehow.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what it was. I was like, I'm going to home inspector you. Let's go.
Like that.
And so his mom was in the industry. She's a real estate agent, and that's how we met up. But he kind of understood what the premise of what we were doing was, and he's still with us today. I mean, he's one of my top techs out in the field. So I guess I didn't mess it up too bad,
right?
But since then, we really found a process, and we really got a plan together. So we have like a 90-day training schedule now, and milestones to hit, and a little more rigid guardrails, in the training. where we when we bring the new people on, we kind of we're able to direct them a little bit more. It cuts that 6 months down to about three, for
Yeah.
a independent inspector at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got our training program down to about 90-ish days as well. Sometimes there's a couple people that you got to hang, like they just need a little bit extra to get them going, but 90 days, give or take. Yeah. So, all right. So when you're looking for talent and looking for inspectors, even how about like even anywhere in the office or growth, like what are some of the qualities you're looking for? I kind of feel like that's one of those things that we all like want to do better at. Even if we feel like we're doing a good job, there's always room for improvement. And so I'm just curious, what are some of the qualities you look for when you're looking for people to hire?
Yeah, by no means am I a master at, the being able to find the people. Like I can't draw them out of the woodwork. But when we do hire, we're very intentional about the people that we hire.
Yeah.
Um, we just, we would rather run lean and wait for that best fit, because we found great success in what we do in having clearly defined roles, clearly defined uh, jobs and responsibilities, and not having a lot of crossover. So we're not having that home inspector that's having to go out and do his own marketing, or go to the lunch and learns and things like that. We want them to
Right.
stay technician mindset, to make the clients happy, have a good day. And then we have our marketing people that shake the babies and kiss the hands. uh,
Huh. Yep. Yep.
and then our office manager, who rock star, she's the one behind the scenes making sure that all the you know bells and whistles go off when they're supposed to, everybody shows up when and how they're supposed to. So I think clearly defining those roles helps to attract and accumulate good people, because they know what they're responsible for. They know at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, this is good job, this is bad job. I'm going for best job.
Yeah, I like that too. We do the same thing. Clearly defined roles helps, and then also like we try to have everybody kind of understand what the other people do, so that they have an appreciation for it. And and so I think one of the things when you're building a home inspection company, one of the fears as an owner when you're first getting started is like, well, what if I hire this guy and I train him and then he like leaves and tries to take my clients with him, right? Like that whole there's always that little subtle fear in the back, like, well, what if that happens? What if they're going to sabotage me? Or, you
Training your
know,
competition.
yeah, retraining my competition. And I've learned now over the years that like that's really not a major concern. Um, and you hire people that want to work for people that they want that defined roles. And I've learned that like most people out there don't want to actually own a business. They would rather show up in their clearly defined roles and they go, yeah, I can crush it right here in this lane. And so like most of my inspectors, they see what I do on marketing and growth and some of that activity, and they're like, yeah, I really don't want to be doing that. Like that doesn't sound like fun to me at all. In fact, a technician normally is not the schmoozing type. Normally they're the get in there, get the job done, and they're good to people, but they have to have some personality, but they don't want to be out at cocktail hour mixing it up with everybody, and that's not their kind of personality normally. And I think the technician also greatly values a solid operational team where they get up in the morning and everything is
Mhm.
lined up for them. The contracts are already signed. The payments are already handled. We use super lockbox access system in our neck of the woods.
Everything's in there.
Everything's in there. All the access codes. If there's a gate, there's a gate code. If everything's in there, ready to go. So they get up in the morning. They don't have to chase down all the operational ticky tack stuff. They get up and all they got to do is show up and just do the inspection. And everybody else is like teed it up for them.
Yeah. And they don't
The
have to do the pre-calls and the post-calls and the,
Yeah,
hey,
none
did
of
you
that.
enjoy your service and all that. Yeah, that's our office manager on our end.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but that was one of the reasons I had to get go for the marketing exec, because I have kind of a technician mindset, like most of us do. uh
Hmm.
and I don't like the smoozing, and I don't like the
Yep.
the all the go out and meet the people and drive your business and all that.
Yeah.
But so luckily, we always marry up, and my wife loves to do that stuff. She is all about the go out into the big crowd and make friends, and
I love
never
that.
met a stranger kind of person. So she jumped into that director of marketing, and really took off with it.
Yeah, that's my personality. I'm definitely the schmoozing, everybody's my friend. And so out of all the different roles in business ownership, that's the role that I really like the most. I enjoy the
Mhm.
most. And so it was really easy for me to kind of like hire technicians and get the right guys doing it. And I tell you, the quality of inspections is better when I'm not doing the inspection. And
The quality of marketing is better when I'm not doing the marketing.
exactly, right? And it's like when you learn like your lane of like, okay, this is what I'm really good at. I think as a business owner, you have to look in the mirror and be real honest with yourself about that. Like, what am I really good at? What do I really like doing? And let me hire the other pieces, because you hire your weaknesses, and you hire because you can hire someone better than you. And I mean, I kind of feel like I can hire someone better than me in every area. Because I still enjoy the marketing so much, that I'm still the guy that does it, and I still enjoy doing all that stuff. I'm actually going to be hiring someone to help me with it, because I need help with it. There's too much going on. But yeah, like knowing what you like, right, and getting the right people, and I think it's how do you find the right people, and looking for a technician and understanding a technician mindset, versus an operational mindset versus marketing. And then, yeah, I think clearly defining the roles, like you said, is really good. And then it allows everybody to know, okay, this is what I'm doing. And then the machine works. And it's a really well oiled machine when you get it defined like
Yeah, and see, the old that you can't track what you can't quantify.
that. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and being able to quantify somebody's job gives them the ability to track their success in the company.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Technicians, this is, less than this number of callbacks, this number of jobs in a week, this number of positive reviews on Google, that is your success story, and being able to relate that to them. Hey, you made it this month, congratulations. You 2x'd your goals this month. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
So being able to quantify that. And then same thing with marketing, you hit this number of offices, you talk to this many people, we did this many CE hours. Um, which is one of the things that we really focus on in marketing is the agent CE. We have our own school here in Georgia where we can go anywhere in the state and just put on CE for real estate agents.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah,
something
that's
that we
great.
really drilled down on with that.
And does the CE courses, does that add a lot for your marketing, do you think?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I mean, it makes you the professional in the room.
Well,
It
that's
makes
true.
it
You're the
makes you
expert.
somebody that they call for questions. I mean, I answered a text probably 20 minutes before we started here, from an agent that we met at a CE, and she was like, "Hey, what's this?"
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
You know, whether she uses it or not, when she sees the name, she knows that we're the professionals that you go to when you have questions. And that ultimately lends to, because one of the restrictions in Georgia is you can't hard market in a CE. You can wrap it up and say, I'm Justin with Sharp Eye Inspections and all this, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't use it as like a marketing framework. But doing the volume of that gets us out there, as when they hear the name, they know that we're established, we're the people to go to, and
Yeah.
ultimately that results in, oh, hey, you taught a CE for me last year. I have a house under contract that I need you guys to help us on.
Yeah, no, I think that would just massively increase your credibility, because you're the expert that's teaching CE courses. And yeah, I think that's a really good thing. I actually want to get into that myself.
Let me tell you,
It's Yeah.
the one thing that we've had great success with is, we kind of get outside of our sphere. We're not giving, hey, this is a home inspection type CE. Like, we're doing business management type CE. We're doing, we have a land use CE. We have the mold
Wow.
test and the radon. I mean, the mold course and the radon course and, lead based paint and all that stuff too. But we do things that are way outside of our sphere, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So
I
what's one
mean,
of
we
your more
do.
popular CE courses then?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we get snatched up for the land use, and the, how to price real estate.
Wow.
So,
That's
something I have no
fascinating. I love
business
that.
talking about, but I come to it as a business owner, not a home inspector giving CE. When I walk in there, I'm a business owner, and here's how we market. Here's how you can apply it to your real estate.
Oh man, I think that is excellent. I like that idea a lot. And
Yeah.
getting
And it
out
gets you in
of
more offices because, they can only hear, okay, here's the kind of flashlight that we use, and here's how we crawl through the attic,
my
and
thermal camera has 800 lines of resolution.
exactly,
And
things that,
nobody
they
cares.
really care
Nobody
about.
cares. They
Yeah,
don't. They really don't. Only other home inspectors care. but,
exactly.
but the customers don't care about that. The realtors don't. Nobody cares about like how bright or how many lumens our flashlight is, and
Yeah.
how long the
Yeah,
battery
my
lasts.
my
Yeah.
recommendation on CE is that if you're going to take the time to do it, give them
Hmm.
what they want. And we
Yeah.
figured that out by asking, doing a home inspection type CE like Radon 101 for real estate agents, asking them at the end, hey, what do you want to know? What do you care about?
Mm, that's
And a
interesting.
lot of it was business related, marketing related, how to build a brand related. And then once we started getting those courses approved, man, people just started snatching them up.
That's great. I love that advice. I am going to take that and run with it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I have
Steal
one.
and deploy.
That's right. Absolutely. And I'm not going to give you any credit either,
Absolutely. No, by no means.
Yeah. I have one class that I do teach. It's called A Decade of Defects. And I went and had a graphic guy put together infographics for it, and so all the slide deck and everything, all this stuff's branded really heavy with what I'm doing, and I go by decades of. So I go by decade. This is just how I bracketed it out. But I'm like, okay, in the 1940s, what were the common problems in a 1940s house? What about 1970s houses? What about 1980s houses, or whatever it might be? And so, asbestos, of course, crosses multiple decades. So
Mhm.
then it's like, so then when asbestos is first entering the market, we see, okay, this is when asbestos is coming in, and then the next decade I go to, it's like, okay, well, asbestos is still a thing, but now in addition to that, in the late 60s, we introduced aluminum wiring, and then and I would tell the backstory on why aluminum wiring was a thing, and it was like the Vietnam War needed more copper for the war machine, and so they're looking for alternatives to switch. What can we switch off of copper? And they thought, well, wiring and aluminum, that works. It took about 4 years for people to go, oh, this is a really bad idea, and it did not take long, and
Wait a minute. Why are all these houses burning all of a sudden?
yeah,
What's going on
exactly.
here?
Well, yeah,
What have you
exactly.
changed recently?
Yeah, but yeah, it was, but and one of the things that I do in that course too is everything that I bring in that's a defect, I started out with like explaining how amazing the product is. And so like with asbestos, I started talking about it. It's like, yeah, we started bringing asbestos into the market. And it's like,
It's an amazing insulator.
this stuff is amazing. I was like, can I tell you how great asbestos is? And I just start going through the fire ratings. I start going through, the insulative qualities. I start just like going through all the different positive qualities of asbestos. And I was like, yeah, it's just incredible, except for that one thing. What was that one thing? What's wrong with
Starts with a
asbestos? And
C,
someone's
I
like,
think.
cancer. And it's like, yes, cancer. Dang it. Okay. And so I did the same thing with like lead water pipes. Like, why were we using lead for water pipes? Man, that stuff was soft. It was malleable, in the field. To be easy if you had to make a turn or adjust your piping around some framework or something. It's like, wow, this is pretty easy to do, and so it's like going through all the positive qualities of everything. And then like, oh, by the way,
And then
there's lead
dropping it.
poisoning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do that by decade. And then at the very end, I'm like, I stop at 2010. And I said, and then I just put a question mark, on my last slide, 2010 and a question mark. And it's like, I guarantee you right now, we are using products or putting into houses right now. And we are all like super pumped about it. And
It
at some
couldn't
point in time in the
possibly
next,
have anything to do with polyethylene.
I know, right? No, yeah, that polyethylene, like in the water piping and like all the
Nah,
packs and all that stuff, right? I don't know
couldn't
what's gonna
possibly.
happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, man. But like, yeah, but for sure, I tell them all the time, for sure, we are installing something right now that we think is the greatest invention. And 5, 10, 15 years from now, we're gonna go, oh crap. It's just like the track record is there. We've done that since the beginning of time. So, but I do this decades of defects thing and put together this slide deck. And I'm like, hey, when you're out looking at houses with your buyers, this is a tool that you can use to say, hey, listen, every house has defects and every decade has things that we're watching for. You're looking at a house built in 1955. And so you can pull out that cheat sheet and be like, hey, so this is what we know from our home inspector guy that, these are things they're looking for, in the 1950s houses. So, and it's like you kind of brace people for it. And I don't know, it like helps navigate and gives them a tool. So that's like one of the classes I like to teach. And I should, but yeah, so that one, I haven't turned it into a CE course. I had somebody mention that and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to start getting into the CE course thing. I think it'd be pretty helpful in marketing.
Yeah, yeah, we've had huge success with that. Or the one similar to that we have is the what we call the what to expect when you're inspecting.
Well, that's a good one.
Kind of play off of the
Yeah.
the women's book, the what to expect when expecting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
No, that's pretty
ladies get a
clever.
kick out of that title, kind of play on the words there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good one. And I'm not sure about your market, but in my market, I feel like there's way more women in real estate than there are men right now.
Oh yeah, we're 90-10 easy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think so. In commercial real estate, I've noticed that it's more men than women. But in
Mhm.
residential, it seems like it's more women than men. Um, and you came out of the commercial building background. Do you guys do commercial building inspections?
We do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, us too. I love it.
we have a
Yeah.
commercial division. We have, of course, the residential. We've legged off into a radon mitigation with a couple other verticals working over the next couple of years.
Well, that's awesome. So you have a mitigation. You do mitigation as well. So you're coming to put the fans and all that stuff in.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. Is radon a big thing in Atlanta?
it's a EPA level 2. I mean, really, it's hit or miss. I mean,
Okay.
it's ridiculously low, or it's for our area, it's usually higher, significantly higher. High for us is teens, 20s. I know some of the people that are listening to this may be like 20 is high, because they're in the hundreds and 600s and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, in this area, the 20 is about your high
That
your
same for us
highest
here.
levels. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that's the tail end of the Rocky Mountains. So the Rocky Mountains are up in obviously in Colorado, but it trickles down and comes through, and so because we're next to the Rocky Mountains, we get some radon. But yeah, we'll see. We see a lot in the teens and the 20s around here, and so mitigation for that. But yeah, you hear about people, really up in the Rocky Mountains and really up in the mountain ranges. Some of them, yeah, they get up in the hundreds, and
Oh, yeah.
that's yeah, that's pretty amazing. I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen a score that high, so it's kind of mind blowing to me. I know it exists, but it's yeah, I'd be like, wow, what the heck? I better get out of this house right now. That's a lot of radon.
So, like, what can I put on to not breathe in here?
Right? He's like, open the windows, man. Open the windows, vent this thing out. Yeah, that's good, man. So, right, so you're cranking along, you're growing. I know you've got a group of inspectors and you got operations and growth. What's next for you, man? What are you looking at next for your business? What are the next challenges that you're trying to overtake?
I mean, we've got great systems in place. Our office manager is, I mean, she's on it when it comes to having the plan, executing the plan, marketing. Um, I think the marketing just kind of comes with the mindset. You have to be a little more artistic when you get in, for the people in marketing. So me as a technician mindset, I'm very rigid, A to B, and straight lines and all this. And my wife is very organic when it comes to the marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
um, the next steps for us are finishing the scaling of those. We're looking to our 3-year goal is $1 million at this point. And we're a year and a half into that, and we're above schedule.
That's awesome.
So we're scaling our current systems, utilizing the tools that we have in place. We've really started to dive into online marketing and online scheduling, automations. As
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of the old adage, removing myself from the business,
Yeah.
uh, day-to-day operations, which largely has happened until we go down an inspector, and we're not quite big enough to absorb that without me bringing on a little more responsibility.
Yeah.
So scaling to that point where losing a person, having to grow, or increasing marketing to and showing a good result with that doesn't immediately mean strain. It just means absorption. So
Right.
that's our next goal, is being able to absorb fluctuations rather than strain on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, and that comes with size and scale when you start getting a
Mhm.
little bit bigger. And
But the automations and the systems really help. Like the online schedulers, a lot of the people that we work with are just trained. They just go online. Now they
yep.
don't even call much anymore. There's some of the old school folks that want to talk it through and tell you how great their client is, and all the needs that they have for them. And that's great, and that's why we have the people answering the phones every day. But mostly it's just online at this point. We've pushed them to the scheduler so much that it's just automated. So all we have to do is touch the back end of it and make sure all the pieces fit in the right places.
Yep. Yep. No, we've worked hard at that too, and it makes a big difference, And I always joke with the realtors, that when I'm out and about, I was like, you can schedule online 24 hours a day. I was like, because you know how it is. It's like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. You finally get everything accepted, and you want to get things scheduled. You're excited. You're drinking a glass of wine or two or three, and then you're like, I gotta get this house inspected. So you're on our website, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I always joke around, like, and I know who you are because we see who books at 2 o'clock in the morning, and always give them, and it's like we love it. And so then, yeah, I tell them all, it's like in the morning we just double check everything, and then we send out confirmation emails and stuff, but we get them doing that, and I think automating as much as you can is really important, especially as you grow and scale. It makes it
Absolutely.
easier. And you can do a lot more with less people, and I think the customer experience is better too when it's as automated as possible. It's yeah, I think
As long as
we
you can figure out the way to convey the information,
yeah.
if it's a rudimentary, just basic checkbox, check a date, we'll call you back to finalize everything. You're just
Yep,
creating more work for yourself. Like
I agree.
it needs to be a soup to nuts experience where, they get on, they can see all the services, they can see all the descriptions,
Mm-hmm.
all the dates available, pick who they want, and then just finalize it. And then
Yes.
once that's finalized, it's done. You start the back end process, which we have automated, where it's confirmation emails, follow ups,
Yep.
upsell, hey, last minute checks for make sure your agreements are signed. Like all that is automated in our system. So we really don't reach out to them until the day after the inspection, realistically, to do our personal follow ups. Everything else is automated up to that point.
Yeah, that's the way to
It's
do
because
it.
we feel that day after needs to be a personal touch, whether it's a call or a text. That's something that kind of we don't just send an email or a text to say, hey, how was everything? We want to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's important as well. And I think we have an
And we've got a good
automated.
response with that.
Yeah, I think we have an automated email that goes out, and it has the inspector's photo at the bottom, and it looks like it's coming from that inspector, saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, I really enjoyed inspecting your house. Do you have if you have any questions, I'm here for anything, whatever." And then we have someone from the office reach out to and do that personal touch. But as things grow and scale, it becomes harder to do those personal touches, and it becomes more of a commodity type. We end up becoming more of a product than a personal touch thing, and that's a tough, like, it, for me, that's been tough having to drop some of that,
Yeah,
and
I think the
yeah.
front end, where we dropped the front end, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit,
Uh-huh.
not that front, to move more towards the automation, but it was what had to be done.
Yep.
We're gauging towards, I think it was 1,250 inspections for the year, uh, for our team, and you just can't call every one of them three times. It's
No.
like you said, it doesn't scale.
Right. Yeah, and
But
that's
we are
where,
we are
yeah.
hanging on to a little bit of it, where
Mm-hmm.
it's important for us to make that day after phone call and make that personal connection again. And
Yep.
it helps drive the reviews for Google as well. I mean, we're over the past 2 years, we've really been focusing on that, and it really brings up those numbers when it comes to getting those reviews, because that's personal.
It is
If you
personal.
want
Yeah.
the personal review, you have to give them the personal service, and you do that in the field, and you do that after, you do that in that follow up.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. The reviews are really important. I mean, one of the things that we've done over the years is when we bring new inspectors on, we wait for them to we get them kind of in their groove. But once they've been doing it for a couple months or something, we'll do, on their own, we'll do a review contest. And
hmm
so we'll say, okay, for the month, whatever month it is, we would say we're in June. Okay, in July, we're going to have a review contest. Every review that comes in with your name in it, you get a point. And so you want to ask your clients, say, hey, listen, and you tell them, like, we're having a contest. It's a review contest in the office. When you get the request for review, if you put my name in there, I get a point. So
Yeah.
and
Shameless.
so
Yeah.
yes, yeah, and so it's like, hey, help me out with the contest, and so then what happens is clients are like, oh yeah, so they'll get you 5 stars, but then they also put in there, they'll be like, Rudy did a great job. Well, if it's just 5 stars, it gives you a good rating, but if it's 5 stars with a text comment, it gets you a little bit better. And so, and then we have this contest, and so now when someone books an inspection, if they get assigned, whoever it might be, Walter or whatever it might be on the team, if they go to Google, they're going to see that guy's name in the reviews
hmm
with 5-star reviews. They're like, oh, he's in here. He's getting 5-star reviews with his name. I think we got a good inspector off the team. And then it also boosts the company, and it's kind of a win-win-win all the way around. And I put like $100 Cabela's gift card up for something, whoever, something like that, something all the guys would like to have.
The next level is figuring out how to get the photo, because in the Google algorithm, the 5 stars, okay,
Yep,
5 stars in text, okay,
better,
and then
better.
5 stars text with a picture,
Uh-huh.
it's the the head exploding meme.
Yes.
That's where we really have to work on, like, starting to get those together.
So maybe that's the next level on the contest is,
hmm
if you get your name in it, you get 1 point. On the contest, if you get a selfie with you and the client posted to Google,
Five
then you
points.
get like 10 points, and like, yeah. And then I wonder, man, now I got a great idea. I'm totally going to take that. I love that. So now maybe I'll say, like, if you get a selfie with you and the client posted to their 5-star review, like, you get 10 points. And then it's like, that'd be killer too. And we
Mhm.
already dominate the Google review game. Like, I think we have like 1,800 or 1,900 5-star reviews, and the next closest person has like 300. So we dominate our market on that already. But you can't ease up, man. You got to keep pushing hard.
Yeah, it falls
Yeah,
off that because everybody else is gaining on you
they
or
are.
pulling
Well,
away from you at all
yeah,
points. I think we're probably top 5 in our Atlanta market. Some of the bigger companies. We
hmm
have quite a few big companies in our market, so
yeah. There's some
they're
huge ones there.
spiking the ball on reviews, and I'm like, I'm coming for you. That's
But isn't
one
that the
picture at a
truth?
time. I'm coming for the
I'm
reviews.
coming for you. Yeah, dude, that's how it is though. Like, because when I was first getting started, it was like I was a small guy in town, and then I was like, okay, I set my sights on a mid-level company. I was like, all right, I'm coming for that one, and like,
hmm
and then I beat them, and I was like, I got bigger than them, and I was like, okay, and I kept doing so, and I kept looking at the big one. Now I'm the biggest guy in my market, and so I'm very painfully aware that the target's on my back, and every other company is looking at me, going like, I'm coming for you, like, and so I have this little bit of an urgency on me of like, I can't slow down. Like, they're going to catch me, and
What's great about that, though, starting out as the small guy in town and then kind of growing to we're a medium-sized company in the area.
yeah,
But now being able to make friends with the newer small-sized companies,
yeah.
it's great. Like, on Facebook friends, like a guy reached out to me the other day. He's like, hey, who's your asbestos remediation guy? I've got a client that needs somebody.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that, now we are the people that other inspectors can come to say, hey, who are the people you use? You've been around for a minute. So, we have a very focused, intentional relationship with other inspection companies where it's, collaboration over competition. Absolutely.
Yep.
Companies bigger than us, companies smaller than us, the market's big enough that everybody can eat here. And, we
Yeah.
gain so much more by working together than we ever possibly could, being pitted against each other.
100%. I mean, I love that mentality. And right, there's enough work for all of us here, and you're right. We're on the same team. We're all trying to help
Mhm.
people buy and sell
Yeah.
houses and not get sued, like
Yeah. Which,
that's the,
is so great about IEB and other coaching platforms. It definitely fosters that mentality and teaches
Mhm.
you how to be, that collaborative player in the market and not just the guy who's holding on to his agent's, with a vicious snarl and, hate in its
They're
heart.
mine. They're all mine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta like that. Well, and so, I don't know about you, you've been around longer than I have. But like, there's a broker, real estate agent that like uses us pretty faithfully, pretty consistently. And then, something happens, a scheduling mishap, something happens, like we weren't 100% perfect that day. And they're like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to keep working with you, And so it's been like, I really want to work with you, but, if you end it with grace and you're like, yeah, not a problem. I totally understand. I've found that about 6 months to a year later, they come back. And
We've seen it happen. Same thing.
yeah, they come back
And
and
we
they're like,
know,
I've tried the
I can think of
rest. Mm-hmm.
two right off the top of my head where, I know who they went to, and, just it either fit them, one fit them and one didn't, so we
Yep.
brought one back over and the other one stayed the other direction, and that's fine. It's one of those things where
Yeah.
you can't be everything to everybody. You have to make sure that your product, your business mentality works for the people that you work with. Even
Yes.
as a larger company, you have to be choosy. You can't, you can't be everything to everybody. So you have to work with the people that work with you best.
100%. Yep. And yep. And I still I get complaints from realtors every now and again, still. I mean, I just had one the other day and they've sent us a few deals lately and they wanted to kind of vent and I listened to them and it's like, yeah, I get it, and just sometimes they just want to be heard.
Mhm.
But I know that realtor right now is probably considering trying some other companies out. And I'm like, and I just give him permissions. Like, I totally get it. Like, if you want to go try somebody else out, maybe there is a better fit for you, and we'd love to have your business, but I get it. We're not for everything, we're not for everybody. And some people want the big machine because that's kind of where we built now. We have the big kind of corporate machine that is
Mhm.
like the bigger companies. But then some people I want like my one man guy that I call him and he does everything. And like, that's awesome. Like that's a way better fit. You got to find that guy.
Yeah.
And
What I call that is the boutique.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want that boutique
The
guy.
boutique experience.
Mhm.
And that's where we really excel right now. So, we're trying to be that, I guess you could say, regimented boutique experience, just big
Uh-huh.
enough that we can take care, that we can handle the volume.
Yeah.
Um, but not so big that it's impersonal.
Right.
Yeah, which
Right.
is hard. Like we talked about earlier, it's hard to get that scale and maintain the personal touch.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where we're trying to stay.
That
So
is really tough. That's a tough balance.
we're teetering. We teeter right on the edge of both of those lines all the time. So we're trying to make our niche there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good spot to be in too, and ultimately success is your business doing for you what you want it to do for you, and different people have a different idea of what that looks like, and I think what you're doing there and kind of like a little bit bigger boutique is nice. It's a good spot to be in. There, I think there's some sweet spots in this business. Right about 4 inspectors in the field, 4 or 5 ish, is a pretty good sweet spot where you can still have a good personal touch, and then you have enough volume and have enough coverage, and I think the solo guy there's a sweet spot as a solo
Hmm.
guy. I think there's another sweet spot around the 4, 5, 6 ish, 4 or 5 inspectors is another sweet spot. And then from there, getting from 1 to 4 is hard, but once you get to that 4, then it's a lot easier. And then I think once you decide I want to grow bigger to the next one, I think it's around the 10, 11 mark is where it starts to get a lot better again as well. But the gap between like 5 and 10 is also a really hard gap to work through.
Yeah,
And
yeah. What I've heard referred to as the whitewater.
yep,
Scaling from that 500,000 to the million
yep.
uh, is that's the hard part, because it's going from 1 to 2 million isn't as hard as going from half to one.
Yeah, they're different challenges, right? Yeah, because I'm in the middle of trying to I'll probably be in mid twos this year, but I'm in the process of going from 2 to 3 million right now. That's my eyeball is on that right now, and I would agree that going from 0 to 1 million, that was a very unique set of challenges, and that was tough. Major mindset shifts in order to get there. And then from 1 to 2, it's hard work, different challenges, but I think it was easier in a lot of ways. And then from 2 to 3, it's hard work, but it's a different set of challenges, and I think it's easier in some ways.
It's a
Hard,
lot more repetition of
it is.
existing. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it's
I
getting.
think having, kind of what we focused on, having the right people in the right roles,
Yeah.
and keeping those people in their lane,
Mm-hmm.
where, fit matters as much as skill does when it comes to the people game. You have to
Yes.
make sure that, the people fit as well as the skill set.
100%. Yeah, I think that's really important. It's really wise, and I think the bigger you get, like the more important it is that you have all those definitions the right way. You have all your lanes defined. Your foundation. Like you've done a good job building your foundation, so it's going to be easier for you to scale and easier for you to operate efficiently. If you're trying to scale and you don't have your foundations right, then things are going to be really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where IEB really helped me, was joining the IEB mastermind group. It helped me get my foundations very clear, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna build this the way these guys are building it, and it helped me get super clear and helped me like really scale the business a lot quicker
Solid
and
footings.
solid. Yeah, now it's really solid, and the business just cranks and it's doing a really good job. And I'm not in the field. I haven't done an inspection in a few years now, and because again, like I'd rather be out shaking the babies, as you said, right? So
Yeah, shaking babies and kissing hands.
yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, this has been a really great conversation. I love
Yeah,
getting to know
absolutely.
your story, and I look forward to seeing kind of where you end up in the future. Maybe in a year or two, we'll reconnect on the show and do an update and see kind of what happened and kind of a where are they now kind of episode. Yeah.
Follow-up episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's one thing that I know is that a lot of times our listeners will say, "Hey, I heard something that Justin said that was interesting," or they want to ask maybe more questions. If someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. They can find our contact on our website, www.mygainspector.com, My Georgia Inspector. That's our direct line. Office manager gets the phone. We can set up a meeting, talk, chat. Again, if you're, somebody in the Atlanta area that just wants, you know, advice or a hand up or anything that we can help you with, we're happy to do it. Really anywhere in the country. But, also I'm going to use a shameless plug here. If you're an inspector in the Atlanta area and you're not wanting to be a business owner anymore, we're scaling, we're hiring, we're ready to have a conversation about bringing you into the team.
Of that, yeah, that's a great shameless plug. Yeah, so hey, it's good. Hey, you never know, actually. Yeah, I've done that. I had a guy shut his business down, come working for me, and he's happier than he's ever been. So,
Mhm.
yeah, and so anyhow, man, it's been great having you on the show, and I look forward to seeing you around at some of these IEB events.
Thanks a lot, Matt. We'll see you soon.